Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, let's just go straight to the charts. Let's just go straight to the charts, shall we? ZN. Well, it was a little bit to the downside later in the day yesterday. Nothing too big. I was some people saying like there's some huge swings. Well, I mean, there were, but like for the 10-year Treasury, it's still really mild. Now this morning, we actually have been getting a little bit of upside. I'm not quite sure what that's coming from. I'm not quite sure where that's coming from, but here's the S&P 500. So man, yesterday was a little bit of a wild ride in the S&P 500, wasn't it? Still haven't completely recovered from last Friday. Oil, okay, maybe oil is stabilized. What about gold and silver? I keep coming in here and like expecting gold and silver to like have taken a huge hit or like a huge pullback, and they just keep going and going and going. It really is quite zany. Copper. Oops. Copper. Okay. Copper's doing okay, but it's kind of pointed down. It's actually it's kind of like right there at support, so that's a little scary. We should keep an eye on that today. Japanese yen. There was some comments from a central banker, but he was hawkish anyways, and I don't know if the market really cares. The dollar has maybe halted its decline. And then we got Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still holding that 111. Is that 3 ones? I can't tell. 3 ones for Bitcoin still holding. I think so. I do still have the algo running, but I think I've made a mistake because it shouldn't have started. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Good, Delamar, or sorry. Why does it not let you guys? I thought maybe it like reset everybody's names, and like you just have to do it again or something. There's just like no option to change your names anymore, is there? There's Izzy. What do you mean by for a spell? Good morning for a spell. Are you talking about witchcraft? I'll have none of that in this channel. Okay, they are twitching there a little bit. So I don't know what led to the upside around 6:10 my time, so about 20 minutes ago. There's definitely something up. Oh, a spell is a colloquialism. You know what? I don't know if I've ever actually used that word myself before. Colloquialism or a short time. Anyways, you know, I was kind of coming in here a little bit bothered because there was some short-term funding rumblings yesterday. Zero Hedge had a pinned post about it. Maybe somebody is under stress. That could lead to buying. And now we're kind of getting these rumblings over here. I wouldn't say that it's like super big in terms of Delta. Now, there must have been a news event because there was a big rise in ZB that then came back. somebody must have said something. Yeah, and then a slight spike. I mean, Barkin was speaking at the time, so I kind of felt like it had to have been something to do with him, but there's been a noticeable shift in the job market with executives. Note lots of applicants for every position. Yeah. Dude, it's been like this for like a year, but now it's really bad. I actually think, I don't know, I've been getting, I've got 2 really good responses. Kind of has me hopeful. Oh man, I don't know. I feel like it puts the pressure on. It's like, oh, we gotta get these 2. We gotta interview so amazing and get these 2. I don't know. Because the thing that's so weird to me about the last time around is there was so many interviews where I thought I did good, and then you never hear back from them again. And then the ones that hired me, you know, it was they just did 1 interview and they loved me. And they loved everything that I did for their company too. Like, I just don't. Again, it was like something just kind of clicked. I don't want to go through that again, but it's okay. By the way, we were saying, well, I don't know if I can stream later today because I got to take the boys to school. Well, it's fall break. There is no school today. So we can stream until 9:30. 9. Actually, I think we'll do 9. I was thinking about, like, you know, making the title of the stream freedom, but then I thought, you know, that might be too dangerous given recent events. So no freedom or shirts with freedom splattered all over them. No splattering in general. They are coming back a little bit. There is a decent amount of volume coming through and a lot of level 2 changes. Mood. Gotta keep the mood positive. Gotta keep it positive. The opportunities that I'm seeing out there for me are really good. That's a good thing. Man, they were so close to target on the algos trade. I didn't get it. Also, we can make TikToks. I've been thinking about what kind of TikToks I want to make. Maybe we should go poke the communists again. That was kind of fun. I really think that jump that we had was on Barkin's comments. I'm just not sure I see what it is in his comments that triggered them. Nestle shares surged the most since 2008 after announcing plans to cut 16,000 jobs. Like 16,000 is a lot. I think the numbers I was seeing for jobs in the tech industry was that there's been 100,000 layoffs overall, and 100,000 new graduates. So we're like net 200,000 negative. which when you look at the overall picture, like the number of unemployed that we were getting last time that we got a good number was like 1 to 2 million, I think, right? I don't know. Something about the numbers, I think, still doesn't make sense. You know? Like the situation sure seems like when we're looking at how many people are applying for jobs, like it's way worse than the numbers. Like, because this is worse than the depths of 2008 crisis. Like, it was easier for me to get a job in 2008 and 2009 than it is today. How is that possible? Icebergs on both sides. You know, we've been seeing the iceberg on both sides actually quite a lot recently, haven't we? We're not too close to upside targets, are we? For upside volatility projection. Mm-hmm. 16, yes. Oh. That really changes things, doesn't it? Like, for starters, it means I really, really don't like that robot is looking for... Well, actually, it might mean that they might get it. It might mean that the robot does get its target. The defense trade unwinds. I know, that's interesting.
Order canceled.
Oh, it's gonna flip here, huh? So wait, did it make... It made it tick. It made it tick. It's okay. I am kind of wondering if maybe... It seems to me... I don't know. It's frustrating because I don't necessarily see it in the stats. But it seems to me that with our robot, that it usually gets a few ticks. Like, it usually goes its ways a little bit, and then it flips on it. And so I keep thinking, like, maybe I just need to put, like, a trailing stop on it. Right? It gets those first few ticks, and then if it comes back, it'll take +1 or something like that. Or, like, maybe I need to wait for it to go up 2 or 3 ticks first, and then go for a short base thing. ChatGPT did tell me that if you use like you set it a few away, that does help. It's like, it'll get filled less often, but it will reduce excursion. So we could try something like that. Kind of, it's a little bit weird that like we ticked up and that's where it's getting the short from. Actually, why should it be doing a short? There must have been a really big impulse that reverted itself before the bar closed, because you can't see it on the chart anymore. Big MBOs is 16.5 and 18, and they are still capping ZN to the upside. Yeah. I am a little... So wait, is it? No, it doesn't have a position on. Oh, what's with that? So at 627, it took a long because of imbalance long. And then the exit, it just says name sell. That can't be right. Oh, do I have it in the log output maybe? Oh. It says time exit. Oh, that sucks because I think it could have gotten it. Okay, you know what? Let's fix that. Let's give it 45 minutes. Wait, why is it doing it over and over again? Oh, okay. Clear it there. Oh, now wait a second. Did it? No. Oh, that's weird. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. No, it said time exit. I'm confused because it got out well before the news, didn't it? Or sorry, well after the news. But that's funny because we didn't get initial jobless claims because it's the shutdown. I was looking at this yesterday. Was searching with ChatGPT and everything. ChatGPT says that the Federal Reserve is pretty much unaffected by the shutdown. But I just can't help notice that the Treasuries seem to be behaving differently since the shutdown started. Don't you agree? Maybe it's just that there's not as much incentive for them to trade without the news releases. Without the economic releases. Maybe that's what it is. Or at least that was ChatGPT's conclusion. Does what John Grady teaches still work in the current futures bond markets? Well, so I think that his beginner course is great. I don't know how well his own personal trading has worked or has ever worked, frankly. I think it's always been the case that you have to combine an understanding of order flow and what you're seeing on the DOM with an understanding of what's going on in the market, which is something that John Grady says. Right. So, a lot of things have definitely changed. Spoofing is not nearly as common as it used to be. I also noticed last time that I watched John, at least, he was more interested in S&P futures than he was treasuries. So things change. I guess the advice that I would give you, though, is, if you're thinking, should I really spend the $90 or whatever it is to buy his basic course? Absolutely. No question about it. Absolutely. I think it's great. I still go back and read that sometimes. I just enjoy reading it. Would I pay for his webinar, week-long webinar thing that's $15,000 or whatever? I personally wouldn't, but maybe you have that money. I think it has a lot of stock trading now. Maybe. I think that if you were getting order flow on stocks, that it would be pretty powerful. Because, we have a video about this where I use DX feed and we look at some of the stuff. And one of the things that happened was it was like the second time that there was a really big jump in GameStop. And when I was watching the order flow that day, they were rising, but the flows were actually explicitly negative. Like, people were selling off through that whole rise. And then sure enough, the next day it completely collapsed. So I kind of felt like, you know, anybody that was trying to scalp that, watching the order flow, would have approached it differently. So I think that there could be considerable edge available for us in stocks. I also think, you know, especially when you add options into the mix, that's where you can get pretty big winners and things like that. And that's where I think these ideas like trading for a living and things like that become a lot more realistic. Like, I think trading for a living in the treasuries, probably you're going to be needing to be doing like options and hedging and all that sort of stuff. Probably not something that you could really do practically without the support of, you know, a large institution behind you. It's I don't know, maybe this is something that I should stress more to people. I feel that trading futures, especially trading treasury futures, will probably do more to make you a good trader. Like, I think that that's the best way to learn. It's the hardest way to learn, but it's the best way to learn. But I don't necessarily think that it has the most upside opportunity. You can probably find more consistent plays in equities. You can probably find better YOLO plays and options. You know, part of what makes futures so good to learn on is that it's so hard to make money with them, you know? Whereas with stocks, you know, stocks tend to move up anyways, so that kind of helps you. And then there's so many, so you can always find something that's, you know, like today. I've been sitting here thinking maybe there's some opportunity. I'm a little bit weary about it already being at 16, and so that's why I didn't take anything. I think I lucked out in that, because otherwise I think I might have been looking for a trade, and it's gone nowhere. Right? But in stocks, you can always find something. Who's this got to go? Okay, 16, 18, 22, and 23 have upside volatility for ZN. Oh, okay. I'm posting all of those levels. You really think that it's going to continue going up, though? I don't know. I kind of feel like that we come up and we have been dead in the water for basically 30 minutes now. That they're going to test the other side. And if they do continue up, they're going to test the other side first. Well, we're getting a larger impulse to the downside, so I think it's going to take a little bit more for the market order imbalance to show a short. So I'm concerned that if this does get a trade, that it's going to be late. Kind of been wondering, maybe I need to add roofing filter onto, or not roofing filter. What is it called? Mesa. The Mesa, so that it gets an earlier signal. Maybe. Do you use AI for trading? Not really. Probably should. Hey, if things go, I say if things go well. If things don't go well, I'm going through another period of unemployment. So I might have some time to spend on that sort of stuff. I think still, if I'm, get the things done on the trading GUI side that I want to, or I'm just burnt out on that I will probably go for machine learning first before I go for integrating large language models. Just because, well, I think that the machine learning is probably more useful in day trading. I think the LLM could be a powerful thing too, but I think like optimally, you'd want to have all of that stuff involved, So then you could add the bias that the LLM comes to, and factor that into your machine learning, your XGBoost model. So you'd want to make the XGBoost model first.
Order submitted.
Okay. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so I'm actually surprised that okay, so first thing is that was a really fast drop there. And a lot of volume too, by the way. I'm not hearing I'm not hearing anything on my news squawk. It is on. Waller is speaking. Alternative
Order
data showing
submitted.
mixed picture for job market. Uzi missed the fun. I know, right? It's like right after he left too. But the thing that I was kind of laughing about was Ninja Trader thinks that it got 12. And I think that there was a really good chance it would have caught slippage on that. I guess it would have gotten the target on it as well. Is it going short again? That's pretty funny. Well, that would be funny if... Well, maybe not. I was going to say that would be funny if it took the full loss on the second one. But it's actually almost getting its target at 09. Just one more tick. Of course, it would be even more ironic if it almost got 09 and then completely reversed. Okay, never mind. Holy shit, what's going on? No, something else is going on. That can't have been Waller. Neutral interest rate is about 100 to 125 basis points lower than current federal funds rate. If job market continues to weaken, Fed should cut toward neutral rate. Why would that cause selling in treasuries? I don't understand. That can't be it. There's got to be something else. And the curious thing about it is how much volume there's behind it. I would say I'm not exactly seeing huge reactions in the other instruments, but I mean, the Japanese yen did fall with them. The S&P 500 is selling. It's just they're not doing enough unusual to like match the Treasuries crazy there. And you know what else is interesting about this? I wouldn't say this is the first time I've seen this, but I would say that it is unusual. Is in our inventory cost basis. Can you see how we were at the buyer cost basis? So we were actually at a place where I would often expect there to be like some support, like we would bounce maybe. And we just went through both of them and beelined straight to the stop out. The buyer's line break even. So that is extremely unusual. United Airlines releasing earnings. Come back over here. By the way, what did the yield curve do on that? Steepened. Okay. So that, man, the 30-year really got killed, didn't it? Too bad Uzi didn't tell us what the downside targets were, huh? What is this Bitfinex is talking about? PayPal creates by accident $300 trillion of fake money. It's obvious to everyone. What, huh? What is he talking about? Moran is speaking. The economy is in a pretty good space. You know, that could maybe make sense that something that he just said triggered them. Because he's been speaking a lot, and he seems pretty smart to me, actually. Like, I don't know everything about him and everything that he believes economically, but he was, I saw a video yesterday, you know, they're talking about, well, you know, inflation is too high. And he was talking about, oh, in fact, he's talking about it again right now. He was talking about how housing is one of the biggest components of CPI, and it's lagged, and that the other data points that we have that are kind of lead that housing component are declining. Ergo, we should expect the inflation to come down. And this is a point that people have been complaining about for, you know, like the whole time during the big inflation scare, was that, you know, the owner equivalent rents that they use is basically like 6 months late compared to other data sets that we have. So he's talking about that. So I liked that. Maybe there is a good chance that Moran actually does become president of the Federal Reserve. I kind of feel like at this point that he has to be on, you know, leading the pack. Octavia says, I'm looking to fade. Did you catch it? Did you, what price would you have faded that at? I don't know. Oh, on a move like this, you know, like the pullback was way quick. This is really hard to trade on a reversal. I mean, I suppose you could take it long here and on expectation that they're going to close that gap and come back to 13. So now I'm seeing the Twitterati and especially the news squawks picking up more on what Moran is saying. He says the economy is in a pretty good place, but has new risks. It makes the U.S. economy more brittle to shocks like recent change with China and rare earths. The longer policy stays restrictive, the greater the downside. So the issue I'm still having is I don't see where anything that he is saying is explicitly hawkish. Yeah, Uzi's back. He's like, what? What were the downside levels, Uzi? What were the downside levels? This market flipped around hard. We're still not sure what's going on, but they sure sold off crazy.
Order submitted.
Oh, this is going to take a long here, huh? Okay. Okay. You're on your way out to the job? Well, we don't know what's going on, so you might as well leave and come back. Oh, you did give the downside? Oh, yeah, you're right. 112.71 and 112.30 for downside. Oh, okay. So we actually came one tick short of the first target. Huh. So it holds once again. There's a little bit of like, okay, do you take it exactly on the point or like one tick above it? So there's still some room to like, you know, sneak a tick or so, but continues to be really, really good levels, doesn't it? Policy has gotten about 1.5 points tighter this year due to rapid rise in the neutral rate. 25 basis point cuts is making adjustment slower than it needs to be. I closed my short. I mean, I guess when we were up there, if you was going to make a trade, it would be short, wouldn't it? But I wasn't necessarily looking for anything to happen. And I was still kind of, I don't know. I think the thing that has me really off balance about this is that I was expecting that if anything crazy was going to happen, it was going to be to the upside today, you know? You were short 13. Oh, really? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Actually, it's not only is it not bad, that's the best you could have gotten. I still have it over here. That's the best you could have gotten. Totally makes sense, though, in ZT, because that was the price that we were basically stuck at forever. Yeah. Yeah, just go. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I don't think what's going on makes complete sense anyways, so... I kind of half wonder that the Treasury market is trying to punish Moran for saying things that are unorthodox, even though he didn't say anything hawkish. So, given that, there might actually be a really good case for it to, again, to come back across this chasm and trade 13. Regulation is a big driver of supply side of the economy. Other economists underappreciate that. Inflation on the path to 2%, not a barrier to rate cuts. Outlook after October is dependent on the labor market. I see a slower path of rate cuts if GDP holds up or the job market speeds up. A no hire, no fire job market is ominous. That was Waller. Oh, now I'm seeing Waller's comments. Yeah. We're about 17 minutes past. By the way, we have a ton of Fed speakers today, so. Got Bowman at the top of the hour. Maybe it was Waller. Based on current data, 25 basis point rate cut justified at central bank's October meeting. Rate cuts beyond October will depend on data. Main focus now is on state of the job market. Labor market data contradicts signs of stronger growth. Microsoft, new wave of updates to make every Windows 11 PC and AI PC with Copilot at the center and Copilot voice vision available. Wait. Heck. Goldman Sachs AI investment levels are sustainable. Oh, they're kind of getting, that one is actually a little bit suspicious because they were kind of questioning the AI rally yesterday, and people were saying, well, they're like super vulnerable to it, so maybe somebody came in and said, no, you need to come in and say that it's all okay. Now, it was definitely Waller, which was speaking at that time. I'm not sure what it is that I'm picking up, that they're picking up on. Something that he said has them out of sorts. Has them all bothered.
Order filled.
So that was a stop out, right? Stop loss, yep. It was. OpenAI's ChatGPT is so popular that almost no one will pay for it. Oh, wow, we're going lower, huh? Like, I don't think the equities like what they're seeing here, but we'll see what they do when they open up, huh? What's our gamma set? Well, yeah, let's go take a look at where the gamma, at least for the S&P 500, is at, or if it's changed from yesterday. I'm going to bet that we're too far away from those levels for it to really matter too much. Looks like there's a really big one at 67.50. So that's interesting. That could make it difficult to get above 67.50. And I guess the downside would be 6,700. Might be a spot that's difficult to plow through. But once we get there, then there's tons of negative gamma, so could get interesting over there. I spend more time dealing with AI slop than getting value out of it. Maybe if other people aren't using it correctly. My colleagues are also clearly using... Well, let's read it. It's coming from every angle and it's frustrating me. It's like half the planet is in a cult. They've all got those brain slug things from Futurama and we just can't see it. Every company seems to be pushing hard on it, even when the outcomes are just suck. We have... I didn't want to swear that this one. We have a company mandated AI uses metrics, PR merged metrics, constantly told to share positive feedback around it, but it just creates a mess with every attempt to use it effectively, even on the simplest of things. My colleagues are also clearly using variations of AI on their work. There's all the telltale signs of overcomplicated code, emojis and comments, types casted on things that can be inferred. Also, a large chunk of updates plus responses are clearly from AI. You know what? Like, I always put the type on things. I don't know why they would complain about that. Well, anyways, on LinkedIn, we've got everyone and their mother telling us AI is taking our jobs. AI is the future and providing no credible evidence. I'm a bunch of entrepreneur startup apps subs because I have a side hustle and thought people would share their cool projects and insights. But they're bombarded daily with AI slop projects that don't solve anything and are devoid of creativity. People constantly telling everyone how they made $47,000 this month with their app. Every sub just seems to be full of AI slop posts and bots. YouTube is full of AI videos with AI narrators reading AI BS. I'm not worried about AI taking my job. I'm worried about AI drowning me in absolute garbage. This sounds to me like a Luddite. Like, this is not somebody that actually understands the AI and like how to use it effectively and things like that, and is just mad that everybody else is getting in on it. AI conversion rate is less than... What do you mean by that? I really think one of the issues that I see with the current AI paradigm is that people use it as like, hey, I don't actually have to do anything. I can just let the AI do everything. And that's the completely wrong approach. I mean, that's not the approach that I take. I take the approach of, I'm still doing the work and AI is augmenting me. So for every technical decision that there is in there, I'm going to ask the AI to debate with me about it, and until we've come to a good conclusion about like what the best way is to do it. And then I'm going to pass that in as context for it to build it. Right. And then I'm fix the problems. And because I know what I'm doing, that allows me to have something that is both created very quickly and is also very technically sound. And so I don't think that the work that I have created with AI is slop at all. I think the work that I've created with AI is even better than what it was doing before. It's taken work from, you know, pretty good to amazing technical work in many cases. Yeah, people are using the AI to think for them instead of using the AI to help them think better. Even though AI is so popular. Oh, well, I was just trying to get at what, because you gave a number there and I was trying to figure out what the metric that you're talking about actually is. It sure seems to me that not a lot of people are actually buying the full subscription. And like, why would you? It does plenty great with just the free tier. Like, I don't really think that you have to go beyond the free tiers unless you're a professional, unless you're like quote unquote vibe coding. That means 2% of people that use ChatGPT are paying for it. Okay, yeah, that would make sense to me. I don't think very many people are paying for it. And I really think that the people that are going to pay for it would be corporations. I think they kind of understand that to some extent, like especially Claude and stuff. But then the issue is that to use it the way that they are encouraging, it's kind of funny, actually. I think that in some respect, the AI companies kind of shot themselves in the foot, because they pushed this whole vibe coding thing and agentic AI thing to get people to use the AI like outright for everything. And what that results in is just lots of token usage. So, of course, you give it to companies who can pay for a thing, but like you're going to give them a cheap price and everything. And so like the amount of compute that they're using is insane compared to how much money the AI company actually takes in from it. So then it was like immediately too much. And so they all started to cut back on the API usage, right? And then nobody wants to use nobody can afford it. They're not going to use it. Now, the company that I was just working for, they were using Amazon Q, which is basically gives you access to Claude. And that with that, I guess I had unlimited tokens, but it's actually funny. I think if I was a professional and I was really making heavy use of it, you could totally justify the $200 a month one. But yeah. But then again, there's this thing that like, okay, if you're gonna like straight up vibe code, or really, let's not say vibe code, but just make heavy use of agentic AI usage. Okay, because you got to understand there's like different levels, and a lot of what people started out with is you just take your code and paste it into ChatGPT. You copy and paste it, right? Like Elon Musk has talked about that's what they do at Grok. And then there was like Cursor and Autopilot, where, you know, you're typing something and as you're typing it says, oh, actually this is what I think you're typing, and you fill that in. So that's a completely different sort of a thing from you give it a prompt and the AI just starts doing things, right? And if you give it a prompt and the AI just starts doing things sort of work, you there's some things that you've got to know. Like, for one, you probably want to get MCP servers for certain things. Like I was seeing this one to do with cloud access to Amazon. I wish I had seen that earlier, because that would have been really useful. You know, it's things like that, because if you just try and it tries to do everything through command line commands, it'll get like half of them wrong. So you'll waste a lot of tokens and it'll do things. It's just dumb. Sometimes the problem that I had the most with doing like AWS commands was it would always do commands that have a pager built into it. So like I would have to hit enter or J or whatever to go down to the bottom of the file before the command would complete and the AI could continue doing stuff. And otherwise the AI would just sit there and wait for input, right? So MCP server helps there, right? But then there's also things about how you structure your query and what you tell it and everything. And like, as it's doing the thing, you have to have a good way for it to verify that what it did is moving towards its goal. And then if it does something that doesn't work, you need to add some context to tell it not to do those things and what to do instead. Like, this is a whole skill. Like AI coding there's like a whole skill to it right now, at least. And everybody seems to think that it's just like, it's supposed to do all the work for you. I don't see that to be the case. Women will pay for it to get relationship services out of it. Well, that's clearly the thinking, because it was only a few weeks ago that Sam Altman was saying, well, you know, if we really wanted to juice profits, we could allow porn, and then, but we're not going to do that. And then a few weeks later, that's exactly what they did, right? I think that when we start to get real numbers, like we start doing better demographic surveys and find out how many people are actually using AI for like romantic partnerships and things like that, I think that everybody's minds are going to explode. Like, I think that people are going to be shocked at how widespread it has actually become. Because I think that most people think that it is like a really, it doesn't happen very often. It's a really niche thing that like 1 out of 1,000 people are using AI for romantic partnerships or something like that. But I bet you that if you look at it as a percentage of the single population, that it's probably like 30-40% now. That's my guess. My girlfriend, are you joking around or is that for real? Your girlfriend broke up with you because of AI? So one of the things that I think is funny, I have seen this, is somebody did a study that showed that like AI did encourage people to leave relationships. And that's because on relationship subreddits on Reddit, they always encourage people to leave. Like, AI has this huge bias towards leaving your partner. Because basically what happens is there's a lot of projection out there, right? Like, especially the people that are commenting on Reddit don't really have a whole lot of life experience and haven't been through a lot of things like that. Been through like maybe multiple relationships that didn't work and relationships that did work and things like that. They maybe had that one relationship that was really traumatizing for them, right? And so the people that are the most likely to post end up being these people that have been traumatized by something, and they will project their trauma onto the situation that they're reading. And so they'll always encourage you to leave. So there is like this bias. Like, it doesn't seem like it's actually necessarily good at promoting good communication and keeping people together. You see, the issue with almost everything that we have on the internet, like the last, let's just say the last 10 years of the internet, is basically everything was geared towards maximizing engagement. And that's not what we need. What we need is everything being maximized towards helping us and making us happy. Everything was geared towards what was best for us and what made us happiest. The internet would be a completely different place. Okay. Politics wouldn't be nearly as common. This is something that like a conclusion that I've come to I think I've shared this many times with you guys, although maybe not like on this deep of a level of like, this is why I believe this. And it's something that I'm kind of distraught to have come to this conclusion, because if you had told me that this is what I believe like 10 years ago, I would be like adamantly the opposite, right? And it kind of just stresses me that it is so. But especially when it comes to politics, the reality is that we just don't have a clue what's going on. There's too much complexity, and you might be an expert in that area and be able to detangle all of the misinformation and competing explanations of things to understand a particular issue and what we should do policy-wise for it. But when you're trying to understand the political system as a whole, and then especially when you're trying to understand geopolitics, it is just like Russian propaganda sort of a thing. You know, like Russian propaganda is basically designed to bombard you with so much conflicting information that a reasonable person just can't make a reasonable conclusion anymore. But what's actually happening now is that even if all of the information is good information, there's just too much information for a reasonable person to make a good conclusion from it. And so you have to pick your lanes. You have to say, these are the issues that I care about and that I'm going to be an expert in. And the rest of it, you just kind of have to recognize that you don't understand that thing, which is something very, very hard for people to do, especially Redditors, right? Because otherwise, sitting there and trying to understand a system that is really ultimately beyond your human brain's capacity to understand is just going to make you unhappy. All you're going to do is you're just going to constantly be distracted by current thing that is bad, and you'll be perpetually unhappy. And that's what's happening to a lot of people on the left, is that they are on social media too much. They are too politically engaged on their social media, and it makes you miserable. And if we really wanted the internet to be like what is the best for people, it would probably have more lolcats and things like that again. Wasn't AI originally trained off? A lot of the data comes from Reddit, yeah. So you know what's something that I think is kind of weird? So here's another. I don't know if I have a whole lot of evidence to back this up. I think it's kind of a little bit circumstantial and maybe a little bit my own experience. But people come in with this idea, oh, if there's a problem in a relationship, okay, I need to tackle this as a technical problem, right? Like here is the issue, and here's why people are feeling like that, and we can talk, you know, like that's kind of like the therapy approach to things, isn't it? Right? Well, I think that humans are much more physical beings than we often give credit for. And sometimes the best solution to problems in a relationship have simply to do with your presence and how you are when you're in each other's presence. Like just being together and behaving in the way that like a healthy, happy couple does solves so many problems. Seriously. And you're never going to get that on Reddit, right? Because I'm not even sure I could explain what it is, right? I know what it feels like, though. I can go and I can say, oh, we need to be like this. I'm going to put myself in that mode. It's contagious. It spreads over to her. And I'm not even 100% sure what I'm doing. All I know is I'm just like activating a mode in my brain. You know what I mean? And so much of human relationships is just like what happens when you're physically present with each other. Like one of the biggest problems probably in most modern relationships is not being present, you know? Like you're together, but you want to be mentally engaged, so you're pulling out the phone instead of being physically present. Right? Or like with dating, like when I was dating and I would talk to a lot of other singles and I had my opinion about the way to date and some people really liked it, so we would coach people a little bit. And the biggest issue that I would see is that people would match together on Tinder and then they would want to talk for like a month before they met. And it always ends up in a disaster because you build up all of these expectations about what a person is like, and then you meet them in person and it doesn't match those expectations at all. And you're not getting any of the experience of actually like being together with somebody. So even if you really like them, you don't have the skills to like really make the connection happen. So what I always recommended to people was you do just enough messages to get the date. Like 20 messages. Okay, you're cute. Let's go do this. What is it that we're gonna, where are we gonna meet? And you give me your phone number, you get them off of the platform, and then stop talking to them. Do not talk to them other than to confirm that the date is still on. And interact with them as little as possible until you are physically present. Especially if you're the guy. It is to your advantage to get the girl there, because it's a lot easier to woo a woman when you're physically there than through text. Probably goes the other way too for women. But anyways. Yes. We've become too online. And again, I say that like if you had told me that 10, 20 years ago, I'd be a little bit distraught because probably nobody has been more online than me. So basically, my parents were right. We're online too much. Well, I should probably pay attention to the treasuries here. It looks like, even though we did have that further push down, that they have stabilized. I wouldn't say that the down move was like huge per se. It was about, it was more than 16 ticks. It was like 20 ticks. So that's a pretty big move, but not crazy. And we're still not really sure what triggered it, to be honest with you. It was, well, okay, so I kind of missed that we did have the Philly Fed index. Philly Fed survey signals widespread expectations for growth and lower inflation. Okay. When was that? Did I have that on my calendar? No, I don't. Oh, no, I do. It was at 6:30. Oh, okay, that was when the sessions started. This is kind of weird. So many people on Zero Hedge has a story. Extreme leftist Democrat Crockett claims Trump had a stroke and cannot function. And I've been seeing liberals say that a lot lately. But it's like liberals have been saying that for years. And it's not like anything has changed recently. So it's just like it's getting more and more silly when they say it. I'm going to bet, like, if I'm looking for Zero Hedge to explain what happened, they're probably not going to say anything until their daily synopsis at the close. And they might not even go into enough detail. Because I should say that the S&P 500 looks like it's having some pretty good swings. They have yet to have tried extending towards 6,700. 6,700 could be where things get interesting, although I think it's likely to bounce. Can you guys believe it? We like, normally we would have 10 minutes left, but we can keep streaming for a whole another hour if we want to. Can complain about AI more. That's what we should do. By the way, where's the flow going? It's net negative overall in the treasuries. Yeah, it's interesting. We did get this long over here that got stopped out, but then it never stopped being long. Huh. More Seth's talks. I know I need to pontificate about something, don't I? Should recenter things. You know, there was a pretty big move in the yield curve when we sold off, but it mostly came back. Like, the yield curve is actually mostly unchanged. So that's a little troubling. It's going to be funny because this whole time, past 6 months, I've been like, 90 minutes is just not long enough for a trade, you know? And now, 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to be like, is too long. For a while, it's going to feel like that to me for sure. Oh, a decent iceberg there at 08.5. Wonder if, you know what, let's clear the center column here. I don't do that very often, but it is getting kind of hard to see what's going on. Hyperbolical. I don't know what they were talking about there, but somebody on Reddit used the word hyperbolical. It sounds like diabolical. I feel like that there's a supervillain name in there somewhere, like Dr. Bolical or something like that. I don't know if that one makes sense. I think people would probably just make fun of you for that name somehow. It's really weird. The Japanese yen is actually pushing highs now. So the yen was not really affected by this, but the treasuries were. And I wouldn't necessarily say that the S&P 500 was affected. It was just the treasuries. There was Fed speakers at the time who read their comments out. I didn't see anything in there that was game-changing. Well, I guess it wouldn't need to be something game-changing. I didn't see anything in there that would really cause things to move at all. Well, we moved. Hmm. I guess I'm just trying to sort out if it's going to do something or not, but I don't think so far seems fine. And I'm definitely getting, I tell you what, man, I'm such a creature of habit. I am definitely getting the like, okay, it's time to get moving, you know, like I got to get on driving to work and everything. Nah, screw that. Stream. Up to 4 million German jobs at risk as Beijing tightens in the rare earth trap. If it goes lower again, that's going to be really interesting because the market order imbalance has been positive almost this whole time. Hmm. tech lead got liquidated on a 7x Bitcoin leverage day trading. Oh boy. That's crazy. Something that really irks me is all of the tech people at like Google and stuff that think that they know things about markets. So these people, they usually know jack shit about how markets function. And then they spread their ill-informed opinions everywhere and misinform everyone. It's especially like the one that irks me the most is Frank New on TikTok. You know who I'm talking about? Man, that guy, he talks about so much shit that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I guess probably there's an incentive for anybody that's on social media to just talk about things that they don't know anything about and act perfectly confident, which is why AI always acts perfectly confident about everything, right? Like that's the reinforcement that they get. That's terrible. Got laid off right after giving my 2-week notice. I don't know if I should feel lucky or insulted. That's been going around, man. If you've got to give 2 weeks notice, I would be careful. You know, if you're in an environment, I mean, it depends on the company and how professional they are and everything, but yeah. It's been going around where companies are like, well, if you're gonna, we don't want you around, we're just gonna let you off now. And that's okay if they do that, as long as they pay you for the 2 weeks. But if they do that and they don't pay you for the 2 weeks, today I learned Leonardo da Vinci showed every classic ADHD symptom documented by his contemporaries 500 years ago. So here's a thread on Reddit. Layoffs aren't bad luck anymore. They're just how corporate America works now. Everyone talks about getting laid off like it's a freak accident, like, oh no, wrong place, wrong time. But at this point, it's not bad luck. It's the business model. Companies have realized they can slash 10 to 20% of staff every year, frame it as restructuring, and Wall Street will literally reward them for it. There's no stigma anymore, not for the companies anyways. We've all been conditioned to treat layoffs like weather events, unpredictable, out of anyone's control, but it's not a storm, it's strategy. Someone chooses to make that cut to hit a quarterly target, and honestly, until people stop treating layoffs as some sort of fate instead of a deliberate recurring part of corporate planning, nothing's going to change. Well, I'm not exactly sure how you would change things, but I think he's right that like layoffs have become a part of the corporate strategy. And it's kind of funny to me that like the culture around it hasn't changed. Like, if I was hiring right now, I would probably specifically be looking for people that had been laid off from prestigious companies. Is what I would be doing, because layoffs are very indiscriminate often. So you're going to get a lot of really smart, capable people that just kind of were on the bad end of it, right? And companies can find people that under normal circumstances they wouldn't be able to get. But instead, they're like, nah, I only want them if they're already doing this job at another company. Okay, good luck with that. Like, nobody's going to leave right now. Everybody's terrified to leave to a new job. So, like, the few jobs that there are available out there, some of them are, a little bit too stingy. Like, they're like, we're in a market where, like, it's probably the most skewed towards the employer that you ever get, and they still have a hard time finding people. Like, what? Unless you're doing something like you're trying to pay the position way less than it's actually worth, then you might have trouble finding somebody, right? A little bit, ZB kind of had a little bit of a dive and then retracement there. I don't know. I'm kind of sitting here like, okay, this is going to be a long next 1 hour, right? Because normally it's like, oh, the treasuries are just getting going and we want to see where they go from here. And a lot of time there's 8 o'clock news, but at the moment I just don't see it. There is Bowman. I haven't heard. How come I haven't heard anything coming from Bowman? And what after that? Nothing. 4-week bill auctions. What? Once I get my cap right, what is your advice in C's trading? You have to ask a more specific question than that. I guess the best piece of advice, like the best, most generic piece of advice I can give is only trade when there's an opportunity. Trade less. The less you trade, the better off you tend to be. Only trade when you really explicitly have an advantage. And there's maybe a little something happening here. Interestingly enough, the robot never got to like a neutral spot where it would be able to trigger again. Like we're still above 50%. How is that possible? Keeps bringing me back to this thing. I think we've pulled this up before, but like where I'm like, is there something wrong? The indicator. Oh, I think that there may actually be a problem. Come on, where's orange? Orange. Yeah, let's not put the running ones on. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, here's the thought. Oh, it wants me to give feedback on multiple responses, huh? Looks like we did move up, though. I think I broke it. There we go. Yes, there's a clear mistake. It thinks there's a subtle but critical bug. No. See, it's picking up on what I'm picking up on, but I'm pretty sure that that's what I did was correct. Right, because if I have, it's complaining about, you know, like that cells are negative. So if I come in here and I say, have a negative number plus another negative number, oh wait, maybe that's, I'm confusing myself here. Yes, that is correct. Yeah, just doing logic that ChatGPT is not going to be able to. Maybe it can do it. It's thinking hard. It's thinking hard here. Okay. Oh, maybe that's what it is. I am not explicitly tracking stuff that's between the bid and the ask. So maybe it's the case that there's enough back and forth that there are times where it doesn't know if it's buy or sell and it's ignoring that volume. And that's where that's why it seems biased to the upside. And if we had it to where if we had MBO data or whatever and we were categorizing them all perfectly, then that buy side imbalance would seemingly go away. Oh, wait, where am I doing that? Oh, no. That's to remove the previous bar. That's fine. It does give a good suggestion here. It's saying instead of making cells negative and all of that, that I should track everything as positive and then just take the negative of it for the series that gets plotted. So now that I've figured that out, though, I think... So this is actually an interesting... This is something that we should test. I should keep track of like the uncategorized volume and what percentage of that is the total. And if that gets over a certain percentage, that might tell us things about the market. It's probably a slightly more active market when that's happening. Oh, geez. That could be really, really interesting to study. I'm not a developer, but I do know you should make sure to add colors. So many colors in color mean volume. This is getting back to this thing that was like, you know, okay, I've got some skills. Let's try and use our skills to make money on the internet. Well, what we actually have to do is we have to find things that people want. And what is it that people actually want? What do people in our niche want? Or maybe it's not that we need to go and stay in our, maybe we should expand beyond our niche. But I kind of feel like that this is a situation where it's like people don't necessarily know what they want until they've seen like the product. So it's really more about like creating a product that once they see it, they'll be like, ooh, yes, I actually really like that. You know what I mean? And one of the things that seems to do it in trading is just novelty. Like if there's something about it that's very different, and especially if there's something about it that looks really cool, that, you know, would be more likely to sell. But I have yet to have an idea that really has me like, oh yeah, that'll do it. People will love that. I do like this idea of like, should I put it into the indicator that I've got? I suppose so. But maybe I should also include some of the... Well, in this case, it doesn't matter because there is this case where like you can find the midpoint, but in this case, it's always going to be at the midpoint, so that doesn't make much sense. I'm not sure how to do it fully, but what I'm wanting and think other people would want is some kind of combination of the DOM and bookmap style. You mean like this? Where it's just attached to the DOM? Why does it make this alert column area so big? I want it like that, you know? You had to give one piece of trading advice, what would it be? Trade less. I already said that. Number one would be trade less, and number two would be informed. Be an informed trader. Heard that second one before. I think I'm definitely going to, not today, but maybe we could do it during stream tomorrow, change the market order imbalance Actually, maybe I can just do it right now. So how do I get this? Not heard that second one before? It's kind of messed up that it's so neglected amongst retail traders. But that's because retail traders have this idea that trading is about you're not allowed to have an informational asymmetry. That if you know something that other people don't, that's insider trading. And so trading has to be completely about just looking at what other people are doing and making decisions off of that, which is a fool's game. Really, what you should be doing is you should be looking at the situation, knowing everything there is to know, and based on that, predicting what the end outcome is going to be. And just being good at predicting that end outcome. Or at least good at predicting when you know what that outcome is going to be. Are you still here? Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, because we don't have the day job to worry about. So we'll be here for another 20 minutes. And we'll stop at the top of the hour. At least today. There's a child, in fact. Yeah, I don't know. It's been kind of quiet second hour, so I don't feel like we really accomplished a whole lot, but it's okay. We definitely saw in all our metrics and all of that, like sticking around longer was better, so. I'm kind of afraid to save and build it, though. Should wait until after 9:30. Can you see him waving? Asher just came in. That's funny. I'd have to switch over to the wider field of view. The other lens. It's not as sharp. I don't like the other lenses. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. So I should be able to build it and it not affect my current strategy indicator. It built. I guess we'll see. Well, I guess we'll test it tomorrow. I think what we'll do tomorrow is I'll just load it up on a second chart and with just the raw number on it, and we'll see if it's a significant amount. That's interesting. If I do it that way, so like, if I'm not in, I don't include the unknown volume in the total. Because if I did include it in the total, then the buy would always be a little less. So it would actually be kind of skewed to sell. I don't know. Maybe it is a big enough difference to want to use MBO data. But I don't know how I feel about this. It is an apple. It is an apple that is red inside. Are you seeing this, Asher? You see here the apple? The apple. Okay, wait, let's skip ahead a little bit. The person that's cutting it is crazy like you are and is trying to do it with a butter knife. Okay, but watch this. He cuts the apple, right? And it is red inside. Do you see that? It is red inside. Would you eat an apple that is red inside, Asher? I think he says that. I think what that was, that's gross. I would never eat that. He's saying a lot. It helps if you take the binky out of your mouth. Can you say, Asher? That was really good. Can you say, wait. Can you say, Dad? Very good. Can you say, Mama? Very, very good. Can you say, okay, here's a hard one, okay? Ethan. Look at my tongue. Asher, look at my tongue. I really think if I get him into speech therapy and they're like showing him like a diagram of a mouth and he'll figure it out and he'll be able to talk. Because, man, I let me tell you what. So he can't speak. But then when I look at all of his other behavior, and I mean, he's definitely autistic, like he stims and does all of the classically autistic things. But then I also see that like he is hitting the major milestones of development. It's just like 2 or 3 years delayed. Like he's 5 right now, but the milestones that he's hitting are milestones that you hit when you're 3. Like using words and like he is understanding gender differences now. Things like that. Like they were playing with the Barbies and he was pointing out that the Barbies have boobies and mom has boobies. So we just got to work on the tongue. Right? You just Ethan. No, use your tongue. Yeah. Ethan. So we'll work on it. Anyways, I don't think that I would eat an apple with red flesh. Would you eat that? I don't know. A little too weird for me. Just a little too weird for me. You know, and it looks like we may still yet cross back across this gap and get back to 13. But it didn't happen while we're here. I want to try it. Dude, they were talking about that at work the other day. And they said that it wasn't that great. So your daughter has a speech delay? How old is your daughter? It's kind of interesting to me because he can like he will copy like the intonation in your voice. He'll go but there's like no consonants in it. And I can get him to do most of the individual consonants, but then when he has to tie them together, then he's not able to do it. But maybe he's on the verge of being able to do it. We are touching, by the way, inventory cost basis levels. So it's also like a former area of resistance, so it might be hard for them to push up from here. We'll see. She used to make a lot of gibberish that was hard to understand, but she is slowly organizing into understandable phrases. My man. Okay, so the youngest, Ethan. I feel like that's kind of what he does. Is like he would speak gibberish, and now he is using like full phrases, but half the time I don't know what he's saying. So a lot of the time it is, 5 minutes of trying to figure out what he's saying and then going, oh, you're saying this. That's how you say this. And then when you show him how to say the word and he says it, then he does it perfectly. And it's like, what? Like, yesterday he was asking for the black otter. I'm like, what? Black otter? That, otter? I couldn't figure out what, and then finally I was like, oh, marker. And then he said it, repeated it back to me perfectly. I'm like, why? Why'd you have such a hard time saying? Do you just remember it wrong? I don't know. That's interesting. And he is 3. Is that delayed? I mean, some kids are at 2 and they speak, huh? So maybe that is a little delayed. It's definitely because the oldest of the stepchildren, I came in when she was like 3 or 4 or something like that. But she was not even close to them. Like, she was a full talking child. We had that at 4 to early 5. Okay, so that is delayed, yeah. That is delayed. But see, like, what Asher has is different. Like, he understands what you're saying. He really understands what you're saying. Like, it used to be, you'd say something to him and you weren't sure if he understood it or not, or if he was just ignoring you. But, like, he ignores us less and less. So now if you ask him something or tell him to do something, like, you get very clear understanding. He definitely knows what you're asking. It's just he can't figure out how to get his mouth to make the sounds correctly. So I think it's like apraxia of speech or something. And again, that's where it's like, oh, well, maybe he just needs the right therapy and he's not getting it at school right now. And we need to get a new job and pay tons and tons of money for him to go to a speech therapist. It means cognitively he's all right outside of speech. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I think that he might have a hard time showing me all of the different shapes and colors, for instance. But it means that at the very least that he might not be like complete. I don't know, man. I mean, he's definitely delayed cognitively. We'll put it that way, right? He's delayed cognitively. I don't think that he's like a vegetable. So there's this guy I came across on TikTok, and his older brother has autism, and he's basically been taking care of his older brother all his life. Like, I'm sure he could live with mom, but he lives with his brother. The autistic older brother lives with his brother and his wife. So they take care of him. And when they make TikTok videos, like the autistic brother is like always there, and it seems like he understands what's going on to some extent. Like he can ask him to do certain things and he'll do them, for instance. But he just kind of just sits there and smiles the whole time, you know? And it seems to me like Asher is more developed than that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he'll ever be able to really live on his own. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we can work on it. Might be one of those things where he hits a certain level and just takes off, and all of a sudden he's talking in full sentences and doing crazy equations and stuff like that, you know? Yeah, too early to say. Yeah, and that's the other. I've heard stories of kids that start talking at like 14, 15. Apparently, if they're over 16, then the chances of them learning to speak after that are practically nil. Although I think it has happened. But so that's kind of the difficulty you get, is that with autism, is that you just don't know how bad it is, right? There's too many unknowns. All you know is the development is not normal. Well, anyways, we did get a good little trend up there and got to 10. So that's interesting. I don't know if there's anything else. I guess let's just check at Zero Hedge again. Did Goldman just spot peak Reddit? ChatGPT massively reduced Reddit citation. Yeah, because everybody's been complaining about it. Making fun of ChatGPT for being too Reddit brain. But I don't see anything about why at around 7:10 the Treasuries took a huge slap in the face and got pushed down. What do you want, this? I got this cool fidget toy that like is like a cube that like the ends of it spin. So it's like a fidget spinner. But like the ball bearing on it, it's already out. Okay, well, I guess that's all we got for now. I'm gonna go feed this child. I'll see you guys tomorrow, which will be same thing. And next week will be interesting. I'm thinking just with the way that this is, maybe we'll do a little bit more programming on stream. You know, because like 2 hours is a little bit of dead time. So unless we got stuff to talk about and you guys are going, I do think that things will kind of ramp up, because there was definitely like some like numbers and stuff went down when we're only trading for 90 minutes. So it gives people the chance to find it, get more people. Okay, guys. Stay excellent, team.